And welcome back. I know I said that I was going to talk about the inverter, but I forgot to show you the best part about the water is my shower scene, because that is why I turned the water on just now. Um, and by the way, I figured, when I was testing out the new water filtration system, I filled this pitcher up right here, and the pitcher itself isn't the cleanest, but crystal clear water. Of course, I left the filter out of this pitcher because once you go through an industrial filter like that, it'd be pointless to go through one of those you know, filters that filter tap water. That's great. But well, here I can show you my laundry facility right here. And this is actually a fascinating thing right here. A friend of mine gave this to me. He found it somewhere, and we were trying to figure out what it was. And we decided that it was like some kind of old school torch, that you fill up with oil or something, and you like walk around like Indiana Jones. And then I mentioned it to another friend of mine. He goes, "No, that's for laundry." I said, "Well, that is even better because I don't need a torch. I got a flashlight." But yeah, so fill up my buckets here, and washing clothes isn't necessarily the hard part. It's rinsing them. It takes a tremendous amount of water, but luckily I'm surrounded by it, and any water that gets spilled on the ground is gonna go right back where it came from. And so what I do after I pump the water is I hook up a few more hoses, because obviously that one back there is not where we are currently. And I walk into my old new spot, because after the flood and then Big Tree fell down, I moved over to here, but then it turned out to be the other spot was actually turned out to be amazing. So this is my my hot water storage tank right here, and the water's already here. And of course, it goes through another 50 feet of black hose right here. So by the time it gets up here, it's several times it's just been too hot. I can't even take a shower. So typically I'll leave that about half full, so that it neutralizes the water after a bit. My shower needs a little bit of help currently, but it's kind of in a constant state of disrepair. That was actually a spray tan booth, like DIY spray tan booth that I bought from OfferUp. And then of course this is just a bunch of junk that doesn't even need to be there right now, except for the winter time. It does though, because I don't know if you've ever showered outdoors when it's freezing outside, but the best part is when you're done and you're dried off and you're warm again. But yeah, so that's that. And then of course there are times when it's cloudy. A lot of my operations depending on the sun, which is fine because this is California. We get quite a bit of it, but there are times when that's not an option. Of course, I don't always leave this here. Stashed it here when I'm gonna head out of town. But crying out loud. So anyways, what's going on here is copper coils, which I haven't had great success with. Partly because I don't have a proper stove or oven for them. They're just out in the open. Not a lot of the heat guaranteed is getting transferred the way it ought to. I think that if I spend a little more time on it, I could solve that problem. But yeah, so that's that. And then then my indoor shower, which the bummer is, these could be clear plastic ones, but this was also part of the flood. And now I understood that the flood was going to mean water, and it didn't really concern me. I figured things are going to dry out and I'm going to have to go down and gather up some of my belongings that floated. That's not the problem. The problem is the silt. And silt, if you have to know, that is dirt that is so small that it can travel through sand. So we're talking about like dirt powder. And once that gets completely covered on all of your belongings and then the water leaves, the silt stays. And oh my goodness, if I had it to do over again, I might have done the same thing, but I like to think I would have gathered up my things and brought them to higher ground. I only would have had to bring them maybe 5 foot up to, that little hilltop that was just behind me. When I first showed where the water was going to, right up there, it's fine. But no, I thought I'd just let it ride. Anyways, that's the shower scene, and I'll get back to the inverter.